the room in our Father's kingdom. Plenty the room.
Yes.
Plenty the room.
Yes.
Choose your seat and sit down.
Choose a seat, yeah.
Choose your seat and sit down.
Sit anywhere.
Choose your seat and sit down.
Pick a seat, yeah.
Choose your seat and
Sit down.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. I want to first of all say praise Yahweh for our choir. Believe it or not, I am more proud of what you guys just did than any other time that this song has gone right. That song, there was obviously some difficulties in there, and every time it jumped and skipped, you adjusted. That's what this entire class is about. So I'm kind of laughing here because I kind of think Yahweh got in there and tore up your machine up in there. Because the whole thing is about how do you believe is the title of today's sermon. It is not about if you believe. We thought that was the main subject matter. It's not about if you believe. It's about how you believe. Consider the question that was asked unto the Mashiach. It says, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He says, how read you the law? Not if you read the law. There's a lot of people that read the law, but how do they read it? They read the law and everything goes according to somebody else needs to do something. That person needs to do this. This person needs to do that. How do you read the law? Do you read it and say, I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to change how I do this. How do you believe? And part of how you show your belief is not when things go according to plan. It's when things go against the plan. That you have a plan in your head. You have an exact order of how it's supposed to go in your mind. But Yahweh's thoughts got something altogether different than what's going on in your mind. How do you adjust? Do you just keep going forward? You see a smoke in the building. You see that it's a fire, but your plan said, we're going to go in and go to sleep. Do you still go in and go to sleep when you saw the smoke coming out the back window? That's what that is about. Let's begin today's sermon in Genesis chapter 30. And we're going to start at verse 25.
No, you got another copy?
Oh. Genesis chapter 30. And let's start that at verse 25.
And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, Send me away, that I might go on to mine own place, and to my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served you, and let them go. For you knoweth my service which I have done you.
Now, the interesting thing is and it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph. Dealing with this whole situation of Joseph, Joseph was different from the other children. He was the one set that was going to lead and protect the children of Israel in the future. And it wasn't about him being the physical firstborn. Go ahead.
Verse 27. And Laban said unto him, I pray you, if I have found favor in your eyes, tarry. For I have learned by experience that Yahweh has blessed me for your sake.
I have learned by experience that Yahweh has blessed me because of you. Are you even aware of the blessings that you are bringing to somebody else's table? Or you believe that it's their table because they're the ones in charge? That the blessing must be coming through them. Go ahead.
And he said, Appoint me your wages, and I'll give it. And he said unto him, You knoweth how I have served you, and how your cattle was with me. For it was little which you had before I came, and is now increased unto a multitude. And Yahweh has blessed you since my coming. And now, when shall I have provide for mine own house also?
When am I going to provide for my own house? I have helped you grow to a certain point, but I must also provide for mine own house. Go ahead.
And he said, What shall I give you? And Jacob said, You shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flock. I will pass through all your flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire.
In other words, the ones that you don't see as perfected, see, I'll take these other ones. Go ahead.
So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before your face. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, Behold, I would it might be according to your word. And he removed that day the he-goats that were ring-straked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob. And Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks.
So once again, you're looking at the same thing that you find several times written in this book. When it comes time to move up on another level, Yahweh creates a separation. Sometimes people think that they are creating the separation. Yahweh's creating the separation. Go ahead.
Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and peeled white strakes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters in the watering troughs when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, ring-straked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-straked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and men servants, and camels, and asses.
Right. So then there's an agreement made, but it also sounds like Jacob know what to do to make sure that they appear certain ways as well. Let's go to Genesis chapter 31, and let's start that at verse 1.
And he heard the word of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's has he gotten all this glory.
Now, this is how things end up appearing, but there's an agreement that was made, and it was because other situations have happened. They're not considering that all the increase that they've gotten is because he was there. Now, when it's his turn to get something, the people have an issue. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of your fathers, and to your kindreds, and I'll be with you. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the el of my father has been with me.
Right. People can believe that they can give you a smile, but you can see that their countenance towards you has changed. The countenance of their spirit bears witness. Pay attention. Go ahead.
And you know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father has deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times. But Elohim suffered him not to hurt me.
Now, he knows that his substance comes from Jacob being there, but he still is changing whatever he can of this man's payment, because he needs to continually keep him around. And he'll use whatever method. 1 minute he asks him straightforward, stay, because I know that Elohim has blessed me because of you. But at the same time, he also gonna take his stuff. So he got several faces going on here. Go ahead.
If he said thus, the speckle shall be your wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, the ring-straked shall be your hire, then bear all the cattle ring-straked. Thus Elohim has taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leapt upon the cattle were ring-straked, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of Elohim spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now your eyes, and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straight, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban does unto you. And I am the El of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar, and where you vowed a vow unto me. Now arise, and get you out from this land, and return unto the land of your kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not counted of him strangers? For he has sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which Elohim has taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's. Now then, whatsoever Elohim has said unto you, do. Then Jacob rose up, and set his sons and his wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle, and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Paddan Aram, for to go to Esau his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to share his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's.
Now, this is just some vindictive action right here, because you can't see that it was any real purpose in stealing them. If you go back up to verse 14, and Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Verse 16, for all the riches which Elohim have taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. So they feel already some indignation about what their father has done, and the portion is being taken from their husband. But one of them, they have this conversation, but then one of them moves to get some vindictive payback. So she gonna steal the gods. Go ahead.
Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river, and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled. And he took his brethren with him, and pursued after him 7 days' journey. And they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And Elohim came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that you speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the Mount of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What have you done, that you have stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters, as captives taken with the sword? Wherefore did you flee away secretly, and steal away from me, and did not tell me, that I might have sent you away with mirth, and with songs, with tabret, and with harp? And have you not suffered, and have not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? You have now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. But the El of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, Take you heed what you speak. Take you heed that you speak not to Jacob either good or bad.
Now consider this. The man worships other gods. He's upset that his gods were stolen, yet Yahweh came and talked to him. Be careful how you approach my servant. But consider something. Yahweh helping this man to the point where he ain't got to kill him. Because if you deal with my servant wrong, I'm going to deal with you wrong. So be careful how you talk to him. Go ahead.
And now, thou, you wouldst needs be gone, because you sore longeth after your father's house. Yet wherefore have you stolen my gods? Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid. For I said, Peradventure you would take by force your daughters from me.
And why would he not be afraid? The man has changed his wages multiple times. He has tricked him. He has deceived him. He was supposed to be marrying one daughter. He waits, sends in another daughter. Now he's got to work 7 more years for the daughter that he was supposed to be marrying in the first place. Why would he suppose that the man is going to be straight up and honest? Nothing you've ever done thus far has been straight up or honest. Go ahead.
With whomsoever you find your gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern you what is yours with me, and take it to you. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them.
Mm-hmm.
And Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the two maidservants' tents, but he found them not. Then went he out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture, and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my master that I cannot rise up before you, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images.
Right. He would not search under her because she basically said, I'm on my monthly cleansing. So he wasn't going under there to go look for it. So she knows exactly how to play this game. But she's upset about the things that her father has taken from her family. But in not telling her husband, now her husband has come out of his mouth and cursed his wife for taking the gods that he doesn't know she's taken. Go ahead.
And Jacob was angry and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued after me? Whereas you have searched all my stuff, what have you found of all your household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and your brethren, that they may judge between us both. This 20 years have I been with you. Your ewes and your she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of your flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beast I brought not unto you. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand did you require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night.
So whatever loss happened, he had to make that right. Imagine you working at Burger King and a patty fall on the floor. They say, you got that. What? Who got that? You got that. Now that patty come out your pay. Go ahead.
Thus I was. In the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your cattle, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Except the El of my father, the El of Abraham, and the fear of Esaac had been with me, surely you had sent me away now empty. Elohim has seen mine affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked you yesternight.
Right. So then we see with the constant changing of his wages, then Yahweh was also causing every time he changed that, all right, you'll be paid this, Yahweh makes that thing increase. Then he changes and said, all right, you'll be paid that, Yahweh makes that thing increase. So Yahweh is then making this righteous restitution without there being a law of restitution yet. The things that are being taken away, Yahweh's giving them back on another side. Go ahead.
And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that you seeth is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne? Now therefore come you, let us make a covenant, I and you, and let it be for a witness between me and you. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. And they took stones and made an heap, and they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it Yegar Shadutha, but Jacob called it Galid. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and you this day. Therefore was the name of it called Galid. And Mizpah, for he said, Yahweh, watch between me and you when we are absent one from another. If you shall afflict my daughters, or if you shall take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, Elohim is witness between me and you. And Laban said unto Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast between me and you. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I'll not pass over this heap to you, and that you shall not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm. The El of Abraham and the El of Nahor, the El of their father, judge between us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father, Esau.
All right, so then when we look at all of these things, you have to then start getting in your thought process of how you're going to believe Yahweh's word. Do you believe that you have to make something happen by your own hands, or do you believe that the will of Elohim is going to present itself? Let's go to Genesis chapter 25. You know, when I was growing up, my folks used to say all the time, you know, God don't like ugly. But you know, God don't just like ugly when somebody else do it. He don't like ugly when you do it either. So what happened is, it's quick for us to say something when we are on the good part of that receiving end. But what if you the one that did the deception? Then Yahweh is going to deal with that as well. So now you have this situation where some things have happened unto Jacob. This brother has done all of these things unto him, and Yahweh is causing that righteous restitution to come forward. Genesis chapter 25, and let's read verses 19 through 34.
And these are the generations of Esau, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Esau, and Esau was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. And Esau entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together with her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yah.
Okay, now, in the beginning, Esau entreated Yahweh for his wife, and then she conceived seed. When it came to the situation of the struggle, she is now inquiring. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto her,
Yahweh said unto her. So you have to wonder, did he not see it as a serious thing? He was the one praying when she did not have a child. But now that she is pregnant, he didn't go unto Elohim concerning the issue that she was having. She went. You have to step back for a second and see, how did he perceive that? Why is Elohim now talking to her and not him? Did he not ask this? Did he not see it as important? Go ahead.
2 nations are in your womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from your bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
The elder shall serve the younger. Now, we oftentimes look at this situation between Esau and Jacob as though it had to happen a specific way. And on first glance, when you look at it, it says the elder shall serve the younger. But how do we know how those things will be fulfilled? So a lot of times we read and go through this story and say, okay, she had to do this, he had to do this. But did they? Go ahead.
Verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Esau was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Esau loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob.
Now, it was already told to Rebekah that the younger shall rule over the older, which is against what normally happens. But then when you find that the father loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. So now each one of them are parting in between their family for specific reasons. And then you have to ask yourself, did she even explain to him this vision or this conversation that she had with Yahweh? Go ahead.
You know, I'm laughing at that. The reason why Esau loved him. Mm-hmm. What they say, a way to a man's heart.
Yeah, through his stomach. So here it is. You know, he's able to go and get all of these things, and he loved him because of that. But the attention of Yahweh is going in a different direction, not according to who's the oldest. Go ahead.
And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray you, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Jacob said, Sell me this day your birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I'm at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
And for all we know, it could have very well been that situation that turned the entire thing around. Because at that point, he said, Sell me, this day your birthright. We automatically say, okay, well, he was just selling it for that day. But is that how Yahweh looked at it? That's something that we have to consider in dealing with how you are going to believe that Elohim is going to take care of you. When you go back in this book, it says that Abraham believed Elohim and it was accounted unto him for righteousness. So how did he believe? In believing that Yahweh would return the boy, he was open to sacrificing his son, believing that Yahweh would give the child back. So it's not just that he believed, it was how he believed. Let's go to chapter 27 and start that at verse 1.
And it came to pass that when Esau was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here am I. And he said, Behold now, I am old. I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray you, your weapons, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison. And make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. And Rebekah heard when Esau spake to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it.
It's one of the things when we read and we read about lambs and rams, things of that nature, you kind of think that, hey, okay, well, this is a part of the flock. When you look at those rams that got the ram's horn like what we blowing, hey, you ain't just going out there and getting down one of those. Oh, no, you're going to have to go hunt for them. They're not just walking around. The whole thing about how the football players end up with that CTE is because they slamming their head into each other, how the Rams fight. Their head is made to absorb that kind of pressure, and they will fight and go at it. You ain't just walking up to down one of them. Do understand, if you get one of them Rams horn, you didn't just walk up and take it from it. Go ahead.
And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard your father speak unto Esau your brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless you before Yahweh before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command you. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I'll make them savory meat for your father, such as he loves.
Right. I'm going to make this. You go and do this now. An entire thing is about to take place here, but it is according to what was told to her. The elder shall serve the younger. So she's going into gear into making this happen. Go ahead.
And you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat, and that he may bless you before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I'm a smooth man. my father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be your curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went, and fetched, and brought them to his mother. And his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved.
Uh-huh.
And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob.
So you have to wonder, the entire time that she was thinking about the elder serving the younger, there's somewhere in her head that she's preparing to do something, and then the situation presents itself. Now, there wasn't a situation where she has tried to convince, as far as what we know, the father that this is how this should be done. This is what Yahweh, our Elohim, said unto me. And if the woman had come to him, maybe then he would have the opportunity to pray unto Yahweh, just like in the situation of Samson. The angel came to the woman. The angel didn't come to him. He then prayed for the angel to come back. But there's a conversation that has to be had for him to even know to pray for that. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And he came unto his father and said, My father? And he said, Here am I. Who are you, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done according as you badeth me. Arise, I pray you, sit and eat of my venison, that your soul may bless me.
Okay, now stop for a second and think back. Think about all of the things that Jacob is going to go through, because we read that first. All the things that he went through with Laban, and Laban changing his wages, and him thinking that he gonna go over there for a couple of days, and he end up over there for 20 years. See, that's that part where people say God don't like ugly. Well, he ain't like your ugly either. Look at the deception that Jacob does, and while he deceives his father, because we look at this situation and we just think about Esau and Jacob, we forget that it's a father who's deceived in this. Okay? Then he leaves there is where he went to Laban and then got deceived for those 20 years. But he done forgot the deception that he did. See, that's us. See, we Jacob. We quit to mention when it don't go our way. But we done forgot the deception that we done did. Now he just goes through this whole situation of deceiving his father, joining with his mother to deceive his father. But then when he get over there and his wages get changed, he got a problem. See? You done changed my wages 10 times. You so unfair. But see, he done forgot what he did. Go ahead.
And Esau said unto his son, How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son?
Okay, and the deception is multi-level. It's not just he went in there and told one lie. How you find it so quickly? He got props for the lie. He got fake skin. He got clothes that smell like another man. Go ahead.
And he said, Because Yahweh your El brought it to me.
Oh, Yahweh brought it to me. Rebecca must be named Yahweh. Because that's how he got that. Go ahead.
And Esau said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray you, that I may feel you, my son, whether you be my very son Esau or not.
So he's got a question in his heart about this. Something don't feel right. Go ahead.
Jacob went near unto Esau his father, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands, so he blessed him.
And in the beginning of this, it says his eyes were dim, so he can't see. Go ahead.
And he said, Are you my very son Esau? And he said, I am.
Another lie. Go ahead.
And he said, Bring it near to me, and I'll eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless you. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Esau said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh has blessed.
Right, because that's the other brother's clothes. But you look at what's happening here. What happened when Yeshua was betrayed? He said, Judas, do you betray the Son of Man with a kiss? Come here, my son. I know you did. See, we forget that all of this stuff ends up being connected going down. There's a reason why Yeshua was betrayed with a kiss. The man who was saved by the ram caught in the thicket is being betrayed with a kiss. Go ahead.
Therefore Elohim give you of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone that curses you, and bless he that blesses you. And it came to pass, as soon as Esau had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Esau his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that your soul may bless me. And Esau his father said unto him, Who are you? And he said, I'm your son, your firstborn Esau. And Esau trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that has taken venison, and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before you came in, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed.
And
when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Your brother came with subtlety, and has taken away your blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright.
Stop. He sold his birthright. See, here's that part. This is where you have to learn how to look in a situation. A lot of times we look at a situation, and whoever we feel comfortable with, we see their side all the way through. And this is the very thing that's going to get us killed. You got to be able to look at all sides in a situation. So Jacob did some things that wasn't right here. But right here, Jacob didn't take his birthright. He sold it. But because you Esau's friend, will you automatically let that slide? That's how we do. That's why Yahweh take judgment out of our hands, because we suck at it. Don't matter who friends you are. That ain't what happened. He didn't take away your birthright. You sold it. Go ahead.
But here he's admitting out of his own mouth, he knows he no longer has the right to the birthright.
There you go. He took away my birthright. Now, who's to say any of this other deception had to happen? Yahweh could have been fine with right there. Then it comes down to the situation, and Yahweh said, he gets it. Why? Remember that day you sold your birthright? But now all of this is happening. So then it brings forth the question, how do you believe? Do you believe that you have to physically do it for it to come to pass? Or do you believe Yahweh your Elohim? Go ahead, brother.
And another question comes to, at this point, is this the first time Esau is hearing about this birthright?
Interesting. Because there's a lot of things going on that you have to ask. Did Esau hear about this? Did Esau hear about that? How long? Think about how long this situation that Rebecca was sitting on. Okay? Think about how long she's had this information. Had they ever had a conversation about it? Go ahead.
He took away my birthright, and behold, Now he has taken away my blessing.
If he has the birthright, the blessing already here. If he had the birthright, he ain't got to take your blessing. Because the blessing belongs to him. So, like Ish was saying, the first statement already explains the second one. Go ahead.
And he said, have you not reserved a blessing for me? And Esau answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him your master, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto you, my son? And Esau said unto his father, have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Esau his father answered and said unto him, behold, your dwelling shall be with the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by your sword shall you live, and shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you shall have the dominion, that you shall break his yoke from off your neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of the mourning of my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau were her elder son were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, behold, your brother Esau, as touching you, does comfort himself, purposing to kill you.
Okay, so the information was told to her. She then brought the information to him. But then watch how the situation goes forward. Go ahead.
You know, even this part here, it doesn't explain how the information came to her, because he said it in his heart.
Hey, some information came to her. She told him, but watch going forward. There's a bigger question here. Go ahead.
Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee to Laban my brother to Haran, and tarry with him a few days until your brother's fury turn away.
A few days. Now, like we just read, he ended up there 20 years. All right? But the original thing was to go there a few days until his brother is no longer angry. Then when he gets there, he gets deceived. He had just got through deceiving and being a part of a major part of deception. Yet he's angry when he gets deceived. Go ahead.
Until your brother's anger turn away from you, and he forget that which you have done to him. Then I will send and fetch you from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said unto Esau, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me?
All right, keep going, keep going.
And Esau called Jacob, and blessed him, and charged him, and said unto him, you shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padam Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take you a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother.
All right, stop. Anybody pay attention to see what happened? What happened? Come on, man. Now, I don't want you to answer. Come on. Somebody out there, tell me what happened. See, you got to be able to pay attention to these situations. She told Jacob, you go to your brother's house and stay there until your brother's fury. What she told her daddy, I'm worried about the kind of wife he may get. Y'all ain't paying attention. She wasn't honest when she went to the daddy. She told him this was about a wife. That's how he got sent over there. Are y'all paying attention? So then, as he's sending the boy about a wife. She already wanted the boy to go there. But that ain't what she told her husband. Finish reading, brother.
Verse 3. And El Shaddai bless you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, that you may be a multitude of people, and give you the blessing of Abraham to you, and to your seed with you, that you may inherit the land wherein you are a stranger, which Elohim gave unto Abraham. And Esau sent away Jacob.
Esau sent away Jacob. But who really wanted Jacob to go away? Hey, man, Man, come on, man. I'm going to need y'all to catch up. I'm going to need y'all to catch up. Pay attention to what's going on. So at the end of the day, it's him that did it. But it was really her that did it. Pay attention. Go ahead.
And he went to Paddan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's, and Esau's mother.
All right, now let's back up. Let's go to Genesis chapter 15. See, if you ain't paying attention, you too busy picking sides that you so busy on the side, you can't even figure out what's going on the side you on. That's why judgment has to be done righteously. It doesn't matter what side you on. You stand on the side of righteousness, you stand on the side of Yahweh's law, and it don't matter. Everything got to come to where you at, because you standing where the righteousness and the law is. Now I'm going to stand with my friend, or I'm going to stand with my mama, or I'm going to stand with my daddy. No, I'm going to stand where the righteousness of Yahweh's law is. And if they in the right place, they going to be standing where I am. Genesis chapter 15, let's read verses 1 through 6.
After these things, the word of Yahweh came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your shield, and your exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Adonai Elohim, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me you have given no seed, and, lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, This shall not be your heir, but he that shall come forth out of your own bowels shall be your heir.
Now, listen to what Yahweh says. He that shall come forth out of your bowels. Go ahead.
And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if you be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall your seed be.
Now, this is a very powerful statement to be said to an older man, that go see if you can count the stars. That's how many children you're going to have. And you're like, what? Well, he must go bring a young fertile girl over here. I don't see how you're going to do that. I'm old, she old, and you talking about just counting the stars? That's a lot of children. She must gonna have some wide childbearing hips. She's gonna. What's about to happen here? Because now we're trying to figure out how we're gonna do it with our own hand, not the hand of Yahweh. Finish that.
And he believed in Yahweh, and he counted it to him for righteousness.
He believed Yahweh, and it was counted unto him for righteousness. But now here comes the question: how do you believe? Remember, Yahshua said the devils tremble and believe. So is that all you got? You believe? What to do? Lucifer believed. I mean, he don't believe that he should follow order, but he believed. Let's go to chapter 16 and start at verse 1.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children. And she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, Yahweh has restrained me from bearing.
Yahweh has restrained me from bearing. Now, you have been told that you're going to have a multitude of children out of your bowels. It didn't say ours. So now, he believed him, but how did he believe it? Because now a situation is about to go forth. Because, hey, if I give you this other woman for her to be your wife and you produce a child, that is from your bowels. See? It ain't if you believe. How do you believe? Go ahead, bro.
I pray you, go in on to my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
I will obtain children by her. So obviously he told her what was told unto him. Go ahead.
And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai.
He hearkened unto the voice because he believes that as well. This is going to be how Yahweh is going to bless me. He don't believe it's going to come through her. She don't believe it's going to come through her. So now they have gone about to establish a way to bring forth what Elohim has said. Did he believe? Yes. But how did he believe? Go ahead.
And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon you. I have given my maid into your bosom.
Stop. Now, why does she automatically put that on him? It ain't just that he is the head of the house. He has been given this vision that through his bowels, something was going to come forward. She then gives him this woman to wife. She then becomes pregnant and she switches. She changes once she gets pregnant. Go ahead.
And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Yahweh judge between me and you.
Not Yahweh judge between me and her. Yahweh judge between me and you. Go ahead.
But Abram said unto Sarai, behold, your maid is in your hand. Do to her as it please you. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of Yahweh found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to shore.
Now, pay attention. See, some people, once they say, hey, God talked to me last night. People ain't going to say an angel talk to them. How it's going to come to us in this day and time. I talked to God last night because we think we on a personal level. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh called me after the game went off. That's what we think we at. See, that's what we think. We don't think that there are, servants and angels that work for Yahweh and that's who do his bidding. We think we dealing with him directly. That's what we think. So that's the way it's going to come out to us. And if somebody gets something, there ain't no way you can't tell them that they ain't severely blessed. But pay attention to the words of the blessing. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence cometh you? And whither will you go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, return to your mistress, and submit yourselves under her hand. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, I will multiply your seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude.
So, if you get with that, now, hey, it might be that she's the way that this thing is going to be given unto Abraham. Go ahead.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, behold, you are with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahweh has heard your affliction. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of Yahweh that spake unto her, you, Elohim, sees me. For she said, have I also here looked after him that sees me? Wherefore the well was called Bir Lahairoi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abraham a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram.
So then Abram was 86. Score is 20. So that is 86 years old. Okay? Let's go to 17, chapter 17.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, Yahweh appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am El Shaddai. Walk before me and be you perfect.
All right. So 86. And now here come Yahweh in year 99 of his life. So he has been told this thing about what was going to be given unto him, what was going to happen. A wife was given unto him, a child was born. At 99, here come Yahweh talking again. So Yahweh came before he was 86. Go ahead.
And I'll make my covenant between me and you, and I'll multiply you exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and Elohim talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but your name shall be called Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made you.
Uh-huh.
And I'll make you exceeding fruitful, and I'll make nations of you, and kings shall come out of you. And I'll establish my covenant between me and you and your seed after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be an heir unto you and to your seed after you.
Right. Now, the whole thing is, in our own minds, we're trying to figure out how Yahweh is going to bring that to pass. Okay? But in your trying to figure out how he's going to bring that to pass, how many things do you implement that have absolutely nothing to do with his promise? Go ahead.
And I'll give unto you and to your seed after you the land wherein you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I'll be their El. And Elohim said unto Abraham, You shall keep my covenant, therefore, you and your seed after you in their generations. This is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and your seed after you. Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
Uh-huh.
And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house, or brought with money of any stranger which is not of your seed. He that is born in your house, and he that is bought with your money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man-child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant.
Uh-huh.
And Elohim said unto Abraham, As for Sarai your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be.
Now, understand how Yahweh is dealing with things. Yahweh told this man from his bowels that his own heir shall come from his loins, right? But now, in the 99th year of his life, now here comes Yahweh again, going to the next level of the first thing that he said to him. But see, in that pause, this is where we implement things, because we got to work on our own time. Go ahead.
And I'll bless her, and give you a son also of her. Yes, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Now think about how they starting to feel now. Now here come that stupid thought. You gonna do? I got a boy right here. What you talking about? You talking about you gonna do? You gonna do what? I don't understand the word you saying, Elohim. Hey, my boy, let me show you my boy. My boy right here. He's right here. Come on, let me show you my boy. Go ahead.
And Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto me that is 100 years old?
Right. Now, we always read, it says, Abraham believed him, and it was accounted unto him for righteousness. You then deal with things and go further down, and you start looking, well, how did he believe? He believed he was going to do some things. But our thought in believing we know how Yahweh is going to bring that to pass is where we're going to get into trouble at. Go ahead.
And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto Elohim, Oh, that Ishmael might live before you.
There you go. That's the part we had to read so you understand that we're not surmising into this, that he thought this was going to be how he did it. Did he believe Elohim? Yes. But how did he believe Elohim? Now there's a woman and a boy sitting in this mix who ain't got nothing to do with the covenant. Go ahead, bro.
You know, even when you think about it, this thought process that Ishmael is the one is for what, 13 years?
Yes!
13 years you believing that this is the one.
And Yahweh let him sit right there and believe it for 13 years. Hey, look at my boy. Boy, nation's gonna come from you. Who that? My boy. That's who. And Yahweh like, that's not it. Go ahead.
And Elohim said, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son indeed, and you shall call his name Esau.
Now things are starting to get confusing. Because like you just said, my brother, he has had a certain thought process for 13 years, at least 13 years. He had the thought process before the boy was born. He had the thought process when he agreed to take Hagar as a wife. Go ahead.
And I'll establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
There you go. But ain't that the promise of what the angel said to his mama when she was running away? See, you got to learn how to pay attention. That ain't got nothing to do with the covenant, though. Go ahead.
You know, you've always talked about how the angel don't have to ask for permission, because the angel already spoke this.
Right.
Yahweh come back and, no, he already got confirmation to say this, and I'm backing up what he said. But my covenant will I establish with Esau, which Sarah shall bear unto you at this set time in the next year.
Right. So now their whole belief is upside down right now. Because they done brought in a woman and a child. And now, you know, hey, at this point, you got to think. Sarah also feel a little, you know, like, well, you know, I'm straight. You know, I mean, I ain't have to carry the baby myself. You know, that woman had them labor pains. You know, she young-bodied and able. She can go through them pains and don't nothing happen to her. Now 13, 14 years later, now you going to have a baby. What? These organs ain't ready to be moving. Go ahead.
And he left off talking with him, and Elohim went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day, as Elohim had said unto him.
Right. And you got to consider you work in a house. And you a grown man. And Dad was just told you, yeah, man, we finna get, everybody got to get a circumcision. What's that? This is where we cut off the foreskin. Foreskin of what? And who gonna do this job? Imagine you being told that because of your job, this is what you got to do. Go ahead.
And Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him.
Right. So then we see that Yahweh waited, at least consider. Yahweh comes, he says something. It's about 14 years later before Yahweh goes in explanation mode of the blessing that he talked about. So what do you do in that space? Do you try to implement what Yahweh has promised? Let's go to chapter 18 and read verses 9 through 15. Ethan. Wake that, make sure that brother sit up right there. Y'all sit up.
Verse 9. And they said unto him, where is Sarah your wife? And he said, behold, in the tent.
Now understand now, this is angels coming. They are about to do some business, and they ask a few questions. Go ahead.
And he said, I will certainly return unto you according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah your wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women.
All right, so then physically, it ain't even supposed to be possible that she can have a child. Because, of course, there's an egg that falls. This is a part of her menstrual cycle. She has to have a menstrual cycle for her to get pregnant. she done stopped having a cycle. So when they tell her she gonna get pregnant, boy, stop. Where they do that at? Go ahead.
Therefore Sarah laughed within herself,
Right.
saying, after I'm waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my master being old also? And Yahweh said unto Abram, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Is anything too hard for Yahweh?
Is anything too hard for Yahweh? Do you believe that now you have to go and deal with some things? Not if you believe. How do you believe? Do you believe that you got to go in and do it? Man, I watch people do all kind of little sneakiness, and then they stuff fall right in front of me. I ain't snuck. I ain't slithered. I ain't did none of the such. It falls right in front of me. How do you believe? Go ahead.
You know, here we reading about Sarah laughing, and then it said, why did Sarah laugh? He laughed first, but he didn't get hemmed up.
Exactly. He laughed too. Go ahead.
At the time appointed, I will return unto you, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not.
Right. You know what we do? We get hemmed up in a corner, we lie our way out. What happened? Not me. I ain't doing no who, when, what, how, where? Not me. We don't even consider, you do know you lying to an angel, right? Like, what? See, it lets you know what our defense mechanism is. Your defense mechanism that you use with humans, you do realize that won't work with an angel, right? You do know he know you lying. Go ahead.
For she was afraid. And he said, no, but you did laugh. And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on the way.
All right, that's as far as I want to go right there. Now, let's deal with one of the things that was said. Is anything too hard for Elohim? What we have to do is when we don't see a path, we have to be careful about making our own. Let's go to Numbers chapter 11. Because you back up or you keep going through that story and you find that everything was given unto Esau. It was according to the promise that Yahweh had made. So then was Yahweh being unfair? No, I told you this quite some time ago. You and your wife decided that it would be easier for you to get another wife and have kids by her for the first wife. I ain't tell you to do that. I told you that it was going to come from your loins. If you had some questions, you should ask. Excuse me, when you said my loins, do that include us? Is that us? Is that me and her? All it needed to be, a question. But what we didn't do is we surmise, we guess, and then we move accordingly. What did you ask? When you enter into a covenant, did you ask Elohim anything? Or you just jumped in it? Numbers 11. Let's read verses 1 through 15.
And when the people complained, it displeased Yahweh, and Yahweh heard it, and his anger was kindled, and the fire of Yahweh burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp.
Right. So the complaining is what caused this burning to come upon them. Yahweh is getting tired of the words that's coming out of their mouth. Go ahead.
And the people cried unto Moshe, and when Moshe prayed unto Yahweh, the fire was quenched.
Right. The very one who they keep speaking against, though, by the way. Go ahead.
And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of Yahweh burnt among them. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, And the children of Israel also wept again.
Right. So the mixed multitude fell a lusting, and it influenced Israel right off the rip. Go ahead.
And said, who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There's nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes.
You brought us out from having fish and garlic. Man, this stuff was seasoned. And you done gave us some light bread. Ain't nothing out here but that Wonder Bread. Go ahead, bro.
And the manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof as the color of bdellium. And the people went about and gathered it and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it, and the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Then Moshe heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent, and their anger of Yahweh was kindled greatly. Moshe also was displeased.
You know what? But you have to put your mind where Israel is. Man, we eating the same thing every morning, every evening. What for dinner? Manna, fool! Same thing we done had the last 24 years. Why? So they are sick of this. Not considering that Yahweh is trying to pull something out of them. See, all of our dealing with Yahweh, how do you believe? It's all about something else. It ain't got nothing to do with us. It never has anything to do with us. It's about them. There's a purging happening. Oh, them gonna get purged out. There's some situations going on. Yeah, they are going to do. How do you believe? Go ahead.
You know, when you read verse 8, it's trying to tell you that they tried all different types of way to fix it and make it.
Man. hey, bro. We them people. When they was throwing away all them the low paws on the hog that they didn't want, what them slaves do? Find all kind of ways. They said the first person ate chitlin, the rumor is they died because it was unclean. What Jake do? We found a way to eat them chitterlings. And I mean, you can tell that's a part you ain't supposed to be eating. When you walk in the door, you like, good God. Whatever that is, we ain't supposed to be eating that. I don't know nothing about clean or unclean. I don't know nothing. But I know ain't nobody supposed to consume what that is that I'm smelling coming out that kitchen right there. Because you can't tell the difference between the outhouse or the kitchen when they cook them chitlin. There ain't no way my bathroom and my kitchen supposed to smell the same. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even been in the bath in there yet, but it already smelled like I done. No. You know, your mind tell you ain't nobody supposed to be eating that right there. You ain't got to open up no book to tell you that. That stuff ran me out of the house as a kid. We out playing, we come back in, oh my God. Turn around, go back out playing. I don't even want to play the game they playing outside, but I sure ain't staying in this stinking house. Go ahead, bro.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 11. And Moshe said unto Yahweh, wherefore have you afflicted your servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in your sight, that you laid the burden of all this people upon me? Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them, that you should say unto me, carry them in your bosom as a nursing father bears the sucking child, unto the land which you sware unto their fathers? When should I have flesh to give all this people? For they weep unto me, saying, give us flesh that we may eat. I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. And if you deal thus with me, kill me, I pray you, out of hand, if I have found favor in your sight, and let me not see my wretchedness.
Right. What there's also you have to see is that Israel will cause you to question the very fabric of what you made up. Jump to verse 31.
And there went forth a wind from Yahweh, and brought quails from the sea, and let them fall by the camp, as it were a day's journey on this side, and as it were a day's journey on the other side, round about the camp, and as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth.
Now, understand something. Moshe was saying, he said, give the people flesh to eat. Moshe automatically, you're going to kill all the flock so that they can eat? And Yahweh had asked, man, is my hand wax short? What you think I can't do? I got this. I said they're going to eat flesh, they're going to eat flesh. But what does Moshe think? Automatically, if he going to give them flesh, then we're going to kill all the flock. Man, I got this. Our biggest mistake is thinking that we know how Yahweh going to do something. Just because you know what he's going to do does not tell you how he's going to do it. Go ahead, bro.
And the people stood up all that day and all that night, and all the next day, and they gathered the quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 omers, and they spread them all abroad for themselves round about the camp. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of Yahweh was kindled against the people, and Yahweh smote the people with a very great plague. And he called the name of that place Kibroth Hattaavah, because there they buried the people that lusted. And the people journeyed from Kibroth Hattaavah on to Hazeroth, and abode at Hazeroth.
Now, this is the very thing that my elder used to say, when Yahshua come and when judgment come, we're going to be somewhere with a chicken bone stuck hanging out our mouth. Well, they lusted for flesh. He didn't kill the flocks. He brought them a bunch of birds. Could be the very reason we love yard bird today. Let's go to Matthew chapter 4. Matthew chapter 4, and let's read verses 1 through 11.
Then was Yahshua led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil.
And
when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered.
He was afterward and hunger. This is how you know that there is a different spirit. You have the baptism. You have the spirit that descended from heaven and rested upon that body. He ain't hungry until after the 40 days. That's a different kind of spirit. That ain't regular man right there. Cause we get hungry after 40 minutes. If you don't get hungry till after 40 days, something is seriously different. Go ahead.
And when the tempter came to him, he said, if you be the son of Elohim, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of El.
Right. So understand what the adversary, the devil, is attempting to do. He's not trying to make Yahshua not believe. He's trying to alter how he believes. This is what happens when people invite you to shindigs and they want you to commune with a different spirit. They want to affect how you believe, not stop you from believing, but influence how you believe. See, if they can influence how you believe, then all of a sudden, a lie ain't really that bad. When me and Kish was at teaching at the prison, Kish ended up saying something about lying. The Catholic priest, the nun, well, you don't mean all lies, do you? He said a lie's a lie. What? So you think all lies are wrong? He hurt that little nun's feelings. I said, Kish, stop it. Because it was a point that he was just having fun with it. I said, Kish, stop it. Why you hurting the little devil? She don't know no better. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 5. Then the devil takes him up into the holy city and sets him on a pinnacle of the temple and says unto him, if you be the son of Elohim, cast yourself down. For it is written,
For it is written. So when people are trying to affect how you believe, they will even bring up what is written, but they're going to try to take it out of context. See? Go ahead.
he shall give his angels charge concerning you, and in their hands they shall bear you up, lest at any time you dash your foot against a stone.
Right. So all the stuff that he's quoting is real. He's just appropriating it wrong. Go ahead.
Yahshua said unto him, it is written again, you shall not tempt the Adonai your Elohim.
Right. So Yahshua didn't say, man, you a lie. That ain't what it say. He said, no, that's what it says. But it also is written, you shall not tempt Yahweh your Elohim. So if I do what you're asking me to do because of what you have rightfully quoted, I will still be against Yahweh my Elohim because I would have tempted him. He's trying to affect how he believes. He's not trying to make him an unbeliever. See? The people that want you to gather with them, they're not trying to make you unbelievers. They're trying to change how you believe. Don't worship on the Sabbath no more. This day right here, the Sabbath. Don't worship on the new moon. Worship on the old moon. Go ahead, bro.
Again, the devil takes him up into an exceeding high mountain and shows him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and says unto him, all these things will I give you, if you will fall down and worship me.
Right. The adversary of the devil being just so nice, and some people get lured in because the devil is so nice. He's so nice right before he kills you. He's exceptionally nice. Look, I'll give you all these things. Now he wants to offer you something. Okay? Go ahead.
Then saith Yahshua unto him, get you hence, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Adonai your Elohim, and him only shall you serve.
Right.
Then the devil leaves
He went
him.
worship and serve. Okay? Make sure you pay attention to how Yahshua answered that. Because you got some people that all they want to deal with is praise and worship. He said worship and serve. If you serve, you do something. Go ahead.
Then the devil leaves him.
Stop. The devil doesn't leave him until he succeeds in fighting him off. You have to wonder why certain individuals will always keep calling you. Once you stand up the correct way, they will stop communicating with you. See, the drug dealer don't keep offering you drugs unless he see, you know what? You look like you gonna smoke a little crack. You know what I'm saying? I look at the way you look at it. You know, perhaps I offer you crack. You like, get that out of here. Let me see it. You know what I'm saying? So now he coming back. He coming back. See, it was something about the way you said. You saying, you know, there ain't nobody who want that today. Right. So tomorrow may be different then. So he on his way back. But when you resist him, them, they, that's when it leaves you. You have to keep fighting so that you can resist that thing. Also pay attention. The devil didn't offer pomp and circumstance of his power until nothing else succeeded. You do notice that was the last one, right? He tried everything else first. All right, when that don't work, all right, look, here goes a stack of money. All right? Look, I got my own money. Look at it on the face. It say Lucifer. Look, I put my symbols on it. Just so you'll know it's my money. When all else fails, then he offered that. He did not begin offering that. Please pay attention to that. Let's go to John chapter 10. And if a deceiver would try to change how Yahshua believes, who are we? What can we do? If somebody is so bold that they're going to change how Yahshua believes, they don't care nothing about attempting to change how we believe. John chapter 10 and started at verse 1.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that enters not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber.
And what you end up finding is the thief and the robber try to lead the sheep out through the back door. They don't come in the front gate, so the shepherd won't see them. They come in the back gate, open it, and try to let some sheep out. Psst, 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 psst. Ah. Go ahead.
But he that enters in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep.
Right, because see, the shepherd ain't going to sneak around the back and come in the back door. The shepherd's supposed to be there. Go ahead.
To him the porter opens, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And when he puts forth his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice.
They know his doctrine. See? They know his doctrine, and they can open the book and say, no, I can find this right here. And even if they don't understand, they wait on their understanding. All the disciples didn't understand, but they waited on their understanding. Go ahead.
And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
Right, they don't know that doctrine. But some people will follow the strange doctrine anyway, because it sounds new, and man, that really sounds feng shui. Man, I like that. He said, so how you do that again? So you worship different now. Man, that is interesting. Right. Go ahead.
This parable spake Yahshua unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then said Yahshua unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them.
He says, I am the door of the sheep. You are baptized in the name of Yahshua, right? This is your door into the sheepfold. But you got a whole branches of so-called teachers who don't believe that they ought to even be baptized. So how they even get into the fold? Because they didn't come through the door. Yahshua's the door. Go ahead.
I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy.
Steal and kill. Steal. It doesn't matter how they steal. If they set up some little false business opportunity, steal, kill, and destroy. Come with me. Do all of these things. This is the purpose. But how do you believe? Because if you believe a certain way, when those things come upon you, you are able to deal with them. Now, we all have to be strengthened. We are not all at the same level. So sometimes we may fall to something, but at some point you got to get back up. You don't just lay down because you failed and say, well, I ain't going to get up. I ain't got accustomed to being here now. Go ahead.
I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. But he that is an hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, sees the wolf coming, and leaves the sheep, and flees. And the wolf catches them, and scatters the sheep.
Right. We are those that go looking for the wolf, so we can be scattered by it. Go ahead.
The hireling flees, because he's an hireling, and cares not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. As the Father knows me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd.
Right. They shall hear. Other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them I must also bring. They will hear my doctrine, and there shall be one fold, one shepherd, which is one doctrine. Go ahead.
Therefore does my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I might take it again. No man takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father.
And it's verse 16 that is actually going to bring us all the turmoil being led out of the daughter of Babylon. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold. They're not of this fold. They didn't go to church with you, but those other churches are then going to gather together. But they're going to gather together under one doctrine. Okay? This is where the fight is going to be. Because you got all these different congregations. You got congregations and then you got gatherings. So you got the gatherings where they don't have any stipulations on how they get together. Then you got congregations. So as all of them start getting put together, you got congregations that's going to merge with congregations. And you're going to have gatherings that's going to merge with gatherings. So at some point, it's going to be the congregations against the gatherings, because the gatherings, they just gather. There's no dress code, there's no clean or unclean, there's no law. You can lie, steal, and cheat. Just make sure you say Yahweh when you do it. See, all of that has got to come together. But we can't just come together because we dressed alike. He says they are going to hear my voice. They're going to hear his doctrine, recognize the doctrine is true. So all these little congregations, as we come out, are then going to be gathered together. But that's also going to be the turmoil, because then you're going to run into a whole bunch of purple people who never went through the door. Now they're going to be trying to tell you what you need to do, and they're standing on the outside peeking in. Hey, brother, when did you go through the door? What you talking about? Tell us about your baptism. Oh, I ain't getting no baptism. I'm going to need you to move and get up in front of me. You are an unborn fetus. You have not even got big enough to be aborted yet. Remove yourself from me. You ain't even worthy to have this conversation. You have not been born. You are a tinkling thought in your father's pants. Remove yourself. How you gonna teach somebody? You ain't been born yet. Read, bro.
There was a division, therefore, again amongst the Yehudis for these sayings. And many of them said, he has a devil and is mad. Why hear you him? Others said, these are not the words of him that has a devil. Can a devil open the eyes of the blind?
All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 22. And you're going to encounter them night of the living dead everywhere you go out, trying to talk to you on the corner. And that's what they are, night of the living dead, because they ain't been born. They have borns. Let me talk to you about something I don't know nothing about. The word says he that believes and is baptized. Okay, you believe. How do you believe? Because if you believe, you would have gotten that water. You would have gotten somebody's water. How do you believe? I didn't ask you if you believe. Tell me how you believe. Show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. Where are yours? Where is the substance of your belief? Well, I talk about it. I talk about it all the time. I talk. I'm a talk believer. Oh, okay, I see. Right. Matthew chapter 22, and let's read verses 34 through 40.
But when the Pharisees had heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, and saying, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Yahshua said unto him, You shall love the Adonai your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So if you spend all your time reading the law and the prophets, but you have not gotten these two, you got to ask yourself, how do you believe? What is your belief based upon? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 27. Proverbs 27. And let's start that at verse 1.
Verse 1. Boast not yourselves of tomorrow, for you knoweth not what a day may bring forth. Let another man praise you, and not you your own mouth. A stranger, and not your own lips. A stone is heavy, and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than them both. Wrath is cruel, and anger is outrageous, but who is able to stand before envy? Open rebuke is better than secret love.
Right. And this is something that we have to deal with when we have those friends that are out of the way. You're trying to show them secret love, but open rebuke is better. If you had openly rebuked them, maybe they wouldn't have gotten so far off. Now, at the end of the day, people going to choose what they're going to choose. And you find that out when you do offer open rebuke. But it's better to go ahead and offer it now than to have yourself inconvenienced for a year straight, only to then begin to offer open rebuke to find out that they were never going to listen to open rebuke. They will only hang around you because they believed that you agreed with them. Go ahead.
Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful.
Right.
The full soul loatheth an honeycomb, but to the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet. As a bird that wanders from her nest, so is a man that wanders from his place. Ointment and perfume rejoice the heart, so doth the sweetness of a man's friend by hearty counsel. Your own friend and your father's friend forsake not, neither go into your brother's house in the day of your calamity, for better is a neighbor that is near than a brother far off. My son, be wise, and make my heart glad, that I may answer him that reproaches me. A prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Take his garment that is surety for a stranger, and take a pledge of him for a strange woman. He that blesses his friend with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, it shall be counted a curse to him. A continual dropping in a very rainy day, and a contentious woman are alike. Whosoever hides her, hideth the wind, and the ointment of his right hand, which bewrayeth itself. Iron sharpens iron.
This is why the tears have a purpose. If you are iron, you are to be used as a weapon of Yahweh's warfare. How is he going to sharpen you? By bringing another piece of iron. That iron is used as a sharpening tool for you. But you know what we do? Fall in love with the fool tool. Yahweh only brought the fool tool to sharpen you. Now you done fell in love with the fool tool. It was never supposed to be what you are. It was supposed to help sharpen you to make you better. See, we have them drill bits and stuff that we use. After a while, those drill bits get dull. And they don't go through nothing. Well, then we put them on the grinder. And once you put it on the grinder, the metal in the grinder sharpens that drill bit. Now that drill bit is sharp. Now I can, boom, stick it back in metal. I can, boom, stick it in wood. I can do whatever. It's going to go right through it. But guess what? That grinder ain't never going to do that. That ain't what it's made for. It sharpened the knife, the axe, and the drill bit. But it itself can do none of those things. It can't chop. It can't cut. It can't drill. All it does is sharpen a real tool. Don't fall in love with the sharpener. Read, brother.
So a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Whoso keeps the fig tree shall eat the fruit thereof. So he that waits on his master shall be honored. As in water face answers to face, so the heart of a man to man. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied. As the finding pot for silver and the furnace for gold, so is a man to his praise. Though you should bray a fool in a mortar, among wheat with a pestle, yet will not his foolishness depart from him.
Right. You got to understand, it is not your job to make somebody do right. All you have to do is say what is right. The fool ain't going to change. You can talk to him all you want. That's not what you're going to be judged by. The question is, did you say what was needful to say? That's what you're being held accountable for. It ain't your job if they change or not. Go ahead.
Be you diligent to know the state of your flocks, and look well to your herds. For riches are not forever, and does the crown endure to every generation. The hay appears, and the tender grass shows itself, and herbs of the mountains are gathered. The lambs are for your clothing, and the goats are the price of the field. And you shall have goat's milk enough for your food, for the food of your household, and for the maintenance for your maidens.
All right. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 4.
Should be the next book over.
Yeah, I literally turned 2 pages. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, and let's start that at verse 1.
So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Wherefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Yes, better is he than both they, which has not yet been, who has not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again, I considered all travail, and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor.
Right. Again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. Go ahead.
This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. A fool folds his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Better is a handful with quietness than both the hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Then I returned, and I saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone, and there's not a second. Yes, he has neither child nor brother. Yet is there no end of all his labor. Neither is his eye satisfied with riches. Neither saith he, For whom do I labor, and bereave my soul of good? This is also vanity. Yes, it is a sore travail. 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow.
Right. You have to look at certain situations that you believe that, hey, I have a friend, we're in this word, but you find out that the situations end up being lopsided. If they fall, you help them up. You fall, they leave you sitting there on the ground. Something wrong with that relationship. Go ahead.
But woe to him that is alone when he falls, for he has not another to help him up.
Right. And if you got one of them fair weather friends, you still alone. Go ahead.
Again, if 2 lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, 2 shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken.
Mm-hmm.
Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king who will no more be admonished.
Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king who you can't tell nothing to. He will no more be admonished or corrected. Go ahead.
For out of prison he comes to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom becomes poor. I considered all the living which walk under the sun, with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this is also vanity and vexation of spirit.
All right. Let us consider all of the things that we have read as it does matter how we believe. We may a lot of times get to that point of where it says things about an unbeliever, and we kind of separate things between believers and non-believers, but there's a whole different aspect to the believers. How do you believe? Do you believe in such a way that you're able to worship with all your heart, mind, and spirit? That is something altogether different than just believing and not believing. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat